everybody, and welcome to the August meeting of the Murder Mystery Book Club. Our title for this month is Booked for Death by Victoria Gilbert. This is a quick and friendly spoiler warning that discussion past this point and in the comments of the video post will include spoilers for the novel. If you haven't yet read it, copies are available through the library's Hoopla database. The novel begins at Chapter's Bed and Breakfast in North Carolina, which is preparing to host a literary event centered around the mystery author Josephine Tey. As a part of the event, Charlotte, the owner of the Bed and Breakfast, is hosting a War of the Roses themed dinner party to honor one of Tey's most famous books, The Daughter of Time. Among the guests at the Bed and Breakfast are book dealer Lincoln Delmont, his wife Jennifer, and their teenage daughter Tara, along with Todd and Kelly Rowley. Local members of the community and friends of Charlotte have been invited to attend the dinner as well, including her best friend Julie, who owns a bookstore in town. It isn't long before Charlotte catches Lincoln Delmont in Chapter's library, which houses the rare book collection of her great-aunt Isabella, from whom she inherited Chapters. When Charlotte confronts him, Lincoln heavily implies that he has proof that Aunt Isabella committed criminal acts which allowed her the money to not only buy her rare book collection, but to buy the home she turned into Chapters. Though he doesn't issue any blackmail demands on the spot, it's clear that he intends to use this information to his advantage later. Hoping to find out more information about her great-aunt's past, Charlotte speaks to Alicia, her housekeeper and cook who had worked for Isabella before Charlotte inherited the B&B. However, she is unable to provide any new information, and Charlotte turns to Ellen Montgomery, her neighbor, the executor of Isabella's will, and the manager of the trust that provides funds for Chapters. Though Ellen too claims to have no information on Isabella's past. Although the dinner party goes well, during drinks in the garden afterwards, it's revealed that Lincoln Delmont was having an affair with Julie, although she was unaware that he was married and had a child. Charlotte overhears their argument, attempting to give them privacy, backs away only to walk in on another argument in her own kitchen. Diffusing the situation and heading out to get ice, she returns later, only to find that there has been a murder. Lincoln Delmont has been stabbed to death in the carriage house on her property. As the police arrive to investigate the murder, the victim's daughter Tara Delmont quickly points out Charlotte as the guilty party. She claims she was aware of her father's blackmail scheme against Charlotte, and that she is aware of the proof he had against Aunt Isabella. Knowing that she and her friend Julie are both prime suspects, Charlotte takes it upon herself to try and prove who actually committed the murder. As she investigates both Aunt Isabella's past and the murder itself, she turns to Ellen Montgomery for more and more help. Ellen acts as a mentor to Charlotte, helping her to focus and organize her thoughts, and forcing her to see events from all perspectives in order to gain a true understanding of what had happened. As Charlotte investigates, she discovers not only more potential motives for Lincoln Delmont's murder, but also an old journal of Aunt Isabella's written in a secret code, along with the photograph of Aunt Isabella with a man who has identified as one of her boyfriends. Charlotte confronts Ellen with these items, and after Ellen speaks to her superiors, admits to Charlotte that indeed, both she and Aunt Isabella were intelligence agents. After completing her college degree, Isabella had taken a job at an estate in Virginia in order to earn money. An estate that would play host to a group of young men from Britain, including one, Paul Peters, who took an immediate interest in Isabella. Paul Peters, in fact, though, had been born in Russia and was in Britain undercover, acting as a secret agent for his own government. Suspicious of Peters, Isabella began poking into his background on her own and discovered he was a sleeper agent for the Soviet Union. She reported him to a college professor she had kept in touch with, who had ties to the United States government. Realizing the opportunity they had, Isabella was recruited to be an agent. Stealing an item from her wealthy employer, she made sure Peters knew that she had done so because she was in desperate need of money. He took the opportunity to convince her to begin spying for the Soviet Union, acting as a social butterfly, throwing parties for the rich and famous in America, which would be an opportunity to then pass along their secrets to the USSR. Believing that he could control her by threatening to reveal her theft, Peters kept this ruse going for years. What he was unaware of, however, was that Isabella was working for the United States government. What she had stolen from her employers was clandestinely returned to them, and all the information that he received from her was actually carefully scripted lies that the government wanted them to know in order to set back Russian intelligence efforts. In order to maintain her cover, though, Isabella was forced to convince Peters that she was in love with him as well. Although not always together, if she had ever shown any genuine interest in another man, Peters would have become jealous and most likely killed her in order to protect his secrets. Ellen had been Isabella's handler in the intelligence community, and after Isabella's mission ended and she retired to chapters, Ellen moved in next door to keep an eye on her and to ensure that she never betrayed her country's confidence in her. After Charlotte is directly threatened by the killer, suffering a close call, the police ask her if they can use the final event of the weekend, a book discussion, as a chance to subtly interrogate the suspects in the murder. It is their belief that by discussing elements in the mystery novels, the killer will begin to inadvertently reveal information about the crime, which can then be used in prosecution against them. The police ask Charlotte to wear a wire to the event so they can monitor the conversation and provide backup if necessary. Ellen, who is with her, though, immediately vetoes the idea, stating that she will wear the wire herself, as she has done so many times before. As everyone gathers at chapters, it quickly becomes apparent that the only topic they wish to discuss, though, is Lincoln Delmont's murder. Everyone is very free to offer their theories, their suspicions, and their own alibis. In the end, everyone there is able to prove that they could not be the killer except for Kelly Rowley, who was caught in multiple lies. Feeling cornered, Kelly flees the discussion, but Ellen and Charlotte follow her, Ellen having called in backup from the police. However, before they arrive, Kelly takes Ellen hostage in the carriage house, and with a gun to Ellen's head, forces Charlotte to enter the house as well. In order to buy time for help to arrive, Charlotte and Ellen coax Kelly into revealing her reason for the murder of Lincoln Delmont. Kelly reveals that when she was a young child, her older brother had gone missing. Although there was no sign of him for years, her parents never gave up hope until they were both killed in a car accident, and Kelly was sent to live with her grandparents. 6 months after the accident, Lincoln Delmont appeared at her grandparents' house claiming to be her long-lost brother. Although Kelly knew that Lincoln was a con man and not her actual brother, her grandparents were so thrilled to have their grandson back after the devastation of losing their family that they believed his story without question. Once Lincoln received the money from the estate, he completely vanished again, never contacting Kelly or her grandparents, leaving them all devastated. Kelly herself was particularly enraged, as she had known the entire thing was a con from the start, but her family had been too blinded by their emotions to pay attention and tried to convince her that she was mistaken. Kelly had been following Lincoln Delmont for years via the internet and social media. When she realized he would be at chapters for the Josephine Tay celebration, she convinced her husband that they should be there as well. She claims that she only wanted to confront Lincoln with the knowledge that she had never been fooled by his con, but when he recognized her, he demanded that they meet at the carriage house that night, intimidating her to the point that she felt the need to bring along a knife for self-defense. Kelly states that when she threatened to reveal his past as a con artist, Lincoln physically attacked her, and as they struggled, she stabbed him with the knife, though she never meant to kill him. She was certain that no one would believe her when she claimed it was self-defense, since no one had believed her previously when she claimed that Delmont was a con artist. However, the police have arrived, and her husband Todd is able to convince her to surrender peacefully to the police, claiming that he will stand beside her no matter what. As Charlotte, Ellen, and their friends attempt to recover from the events of that night and the toll taken by the investigation itself, Charlotte begins to realize that she's entered a new world of investigation and sleuthing. And although this case is wrapped up, it is only the first of many for her. Overall, I really enjoyed the book, but I can see why it wouldn't be to everyone's tastes. One of the biggest critiques of the book is that it's very exposition-heavy, with everything revealed through dialogue and little to no action. In the end, this left the novel feeling very sedate rather than an adrenaline-fueled mystery. For all the ease and flatness of the storyline, though, there were a couple of fantastic peaks thrown in throughout the novel. Aunt Isabella's history as a spy for America during the Cold War, and the death of Charlotte's husband, selflessly sacrificing himself in order to save the lives of a class of children and their teacher. For me, it was almost like eating a bag of regular potato chips when all of a sudden finding a super spicy chip in the bag. The regular chips are not bad, but the shock of finding that spicy chip leads the rest of them to feeling incredibly bland in comparison. Honestly, I would love to see a prequel story on Aunt Isabella and her history in becoming an intelligence agent for the United States. In the end, I did figure out the identity of the killer before the big reveal at the end of the novel, though I admit I hadn't guessed at her true motive for committing the murder, which was another major peak in the story that I think could have been explored more deeply. In fact, I would have loved to have seen the entire novel rewritten from her perspective. Imagine yourself as a young child whose brother goes missing. Years later, he reappears just in time to claim the money from the family estate, but no one will believe you that this is a con man and not your genuine brother. Years later, when the two of you meet at a party, what do? This is not to say that the main character of Charlotte is bad in any way, but when stood against the complexity of other characters, she does come across as a bit bland in comparison. All things considered, although this was not one of my favorite books, I was intrigued enough to pick up the next novel in the series to see how the characters develop. These are just my thoughts and opinions though, and I really want to know what everyone else thinks. Did you deduce the killer's identity and motive before the big reveal? Did you find Charlotte to be an engaging protagonist, or were you more intrigued by the other characters around her? On a lighter note, would you like to stay at a literary bed and breakfast like Chapters? And if so, what would be your dream literary event to attend? Share your thoughts and feelings on these questions or any other topic in the comments below. I can't wait to hear what everybody thought. Don't forget to stay tuned to the library's website and social media for the most up-to-date information on our upcoming programs and events. We've got a lot of great things planned in the coming months, and I can't wait to see everybody at the next event. Bye!